I'm with Mike Leland today, this morning, a good friend for many, many years. He's with the Salvation Army, does a terrific job on their promotions and PR and coordinating 101 different events. Some of them we're involved with as Canada-wide media, and we're honored to do that. So Mike, welcome to the program. And tell us a little bit about your background and how you got this position with the Salvation Army.
All right. Well, thank you, Peter, and thanks for having me on the program. Wow, 20 years in the industry, nonprofit industry, on the public relations and fund development side. I've worked from everything from the small mom and pop nonprofits to bigger organizations like Variety, the Children's Charity, Cancer Society, and now here with the Salvation Army. My passion is all about giving back, right? I've been told I have a corporate mind with a non-for-profit soul, and so I'm trying to put that to best use here with the Salvation Army. Been here for almost 5 years now, and loving every minute of it.
You as the Salvation Army do many, many events. Some are more public than others. Helping those down and out on the east side and so on and so forth. But one of the big events you do around the Christmas time, and you've been doing it for, this will be the 18th year, is your Hope in the City breakfast. Tell us how that's going to change this year, and why is that particular breakfast so important to you?
Right. Yeah, actually, Peter, we're in the 19th year. Next year will be our 20th. You're going to be hosting again, as usual. This year is obviously thrown a bit of a monkey wrench into the plan, like most organizations. We've decided to go virtual this year. The Hope in the City Breakfast is really a platform for the corporate community and the business community, and we bring them together to basically launch our Christmas program on the first week of December. Members from the corporate community come out, they sponsor tables, they bring their employees, they have a wonderful breakfast, you host it. We tell a couple of very powerful impact stories and show them firsthand where their money's going and where their support is going and what it's doing in communities, not only on the downtown east side, but across British Columbia. It is our flagship fundraising event for the year. And, quite frankly, it's one of my favorite events to do. As I mentioned, this year, we're not allowed to gather. The breakfast typically brings about 1,100 to 1,500 people together. Clearly, we can't do that this year. So this year, we're just going to have, our wonderful host, you, engaging through a pre-recorded video. That's going to go out to the corporate community and really just, thank them for their years of service, thank them for their years of dedication. And once again, we're going to tell a very powerful story about where their money and where their support is going in the community this year. It's a fantastic story about two women who created a program in Maple Ridge called Sonia's Cradle. It's going to be, bring your tissue boxes for sure. It'll be very impactful. But we thought by the time December hits, we might be a little virtually streamed out, and so we didn't want to create a big virtual live gala like a lot of the organizations have done and been very successful with. But I think what we wanted to do is just tone it down a bit, take time to appreciate the partners we have in the community, and use it as a platform to tell a very powerful story about how their support is impacting people in British Columbia.
Tell us, if you can, a little about the very beginnings of the Salvation Army on the dark streets of London over 100 years ago. How did it begin, and how did it become this worldwide, much, much respected charity?
William and Catherine Booth. I'll start with them. Founders. If they were alive today, they would certainly be out on the streets marching in Black Lives Matters demonstrations. They'd be out there talking about diversity and inclusion. It really started with them. it's grown into a worldwide organization through love, through the word of Jesus Christ, but through love, care, and compassion. Everything we do is driven by that philosophy. And, in communities across the globe, you have people that need support. And the Salvation Army is there not necessarily to lend a hand out, we're there to lend a hand up. We believe in the journey. We believe in walking beside people, taking them on a journey to recovery, on a journey to rehabilitation. It's not simply about one and done. We really do believe in that philosophy, and it's sort of one of the underlying pillars of the work we do. Our mission is to share the love of Jesus Christ and be a transforming influence in the communities of our world, and we're continuing to do that today.
Now, there must be 1,000,001 stories in the Naked City right here in Vancouver. Tell
Absolutely.
us a couple of powerful stories where the citizens have come to your rescue, to their rescue, and help them live the balance of their life.
Yeah. Well, where to begin? I think, most recently, obviously with COVID-19, Peter, the numbers, vulnerable has taken on a whole new meaning in this day and age. People who, 4 months ago had a job are now in our feeding lines. Single moms who were struggling 4 months ago are now in complete despair. So we've seen a massive increase in the need for our services across the province, like literally across the province and quite frankly across the country. The government obviously has stepped up in a very big way to help out nonprofit organizations and companies and corporations, and we've benefited from that for sure. But one of the things that stands out to me was we are partners on the downtown east side, Union Gospel Mission. A lot of people see us as competitors because we do a very similar work in a very similar space. During COVID, we called them up and said, listen, why don't we get together? There's a huge need. There's a huge demand. Why don't we bring our services together and reach out to the general public? So we did that, and they didn't even blink an eye, Peter. They jumped on. And together, we raised over $1 million in 2 weeks that was funneled directly into COVID relief efforts. That's one of 100 stories like that, but that's one that really jumps out to me in this day and age because competitors aside, it was about the people, and it was about coming together to help the people. And I was so heartwarmed and heartfelt by their response. They didn't have to think about it. They didn't say, let's get back to you. They said, Mike, let's do it. And we did it. And it was a really cool event.
One of the biggest events that we're doing in the next couple of weeks, of course, is Hope in the City.
Right.
And it's going to be a virtual event, as you said. In closing this interview, what one thing could someone who's watching this video and listening to your story, what could they do to help the Hope in the City breakfast and send us over the top for this year?
Great question, Peter. If I could shift it a bit, our Hope in the City breakfast is pretty secure this year. What I would ask people to do this year, where we're really going to need people's support, is with our Red Kettle campaign. And you've seen them on the streets. You see them on the streets every year. This year is going to look a lot different. We're struggling to get volunteers because of COVID. So volunteering, if you can't give your treasure, give your time. That's just as valuable to us. Volunteer for a kettle shift at one of your local communities. This year we've moved things online for our kettles. You can go to fillthekettle.com and you can build your own. You can donate there. You can build your own virtual kettle and share it with friends and family. And of course, you can just go online and donate at fillthekettle.com. So that would be the way they could really help us. Hope in the City will be back next year with you at the helm, celebrating our 20th year, and we'll reach back out to the public then. But for this year, I would really urge people to get involved in our Red Kettle campaign.
Okay, Mike, thank you very much.
Oh, thank you for the opportunity, Peter, and God bless you, and thank you for everything you do for us. You're an amazing man.
Anytime. Thank you, Mike.
All right. Good.